John Deere 9 Series double reduction axles. This is going to cover 9530, 9630, and 9R ag and scraper versions. So today, instead of talking about the features and benefits of these axles that we have on the shelf ready to ship, I'm going to give you some tips on how to prevent the failure. Again, these are just tips, and these tips comes from information that basically we gather or we know when we sell axles. So if you think about our data set, different from your local dealer, what does he see? Well, he sees whatever's common to his area. So if you're in silage packing country, he's going to see a lot of that. If you're in tile country, Minnesota, wherever else they do that, he's going to see that. If you're in the flatlands and you got scraper pans going, like where we are, those guys are going to know that. The benefit we have with our data is that we see all of that. We sell in all, I can't say we sell in all 50 states. We don't ship axles to out of state, and some of these aren't used, but we sell across the country. So we're seeing all sorts of scenarios. And the common theme to that for failures is wherever the extra weight is where the axle fails. Let me repeat that. If a tractor has no weight on it, right? If it has no weight on it, we'll usually say it's equally ballasted. But now you've bought the tractor and you're going to ballast it up to how you need it. So wherever that extra weight is, that's where the failure happens. So if you're pulling a dirt pan, you've got weight on the front of the tractor, your front axle is what fails. If you have a silage packing blade on the front fails. If you have if you're doing some super deep ripping, like with putting tile in, you have a rear axle failure. So that's just how it works, just how we sell them. In fact, we sell so many of the one that when we send axles to the shop, like this is a front. And if we had, and again, we sell, this guy has this is being shipped to Colorado tomorrow, and the guy's got a silage packing blade on it. So that's the front. When we send to the shop, to our rebuild shop, we'll send rears with the parts for front to convert them. That's how much difference that they sell. So let's talk about why they fail. Well, unless it's something that fails, a true failure, or let's say no one likes this when I say it, but the acceptable failures, right, or acceptable failure rate is something happens. Basically, the tractor never leaves the shop. That's the failures we see, and that's a human error that somebody did while assembling something, and that can happen in any shop, any dealership, wherever. We don't really see those failures after the tractor's been out running. I guess what I would say is that once the hits break-in period, and break-in's not that long, 100 hours. After that, the failure is typically not related to the repair. I'm trying to be careful with my words, because I'm not trying to say the customer's at fault for a failure, but the part will fail from a lack of service, the lack of the wrong service, or what I'm going to try to tell you is that just not knowing what you don't know what you don't know. So, oil samples, and I'll tell you how this is all tied together. So if you go online and you look up John Deere Protect, it's a new piece that they've come out with, where you can get extended warranty on any tractor that you want. And each tractor has a different protocol for what the service hours and etc. is. But on a 9 series tractor, to get the extra, it has to be serviced in a dealership 3 times a year or at your facility 3 times a year, where they're going to pull oil scans every time, and they're going to do vertical axle testing at whatever the service manual or operator's manual says to do for that particular application. So a scraper tractor will have a different hour time on the vertical axle test than it will for an ag tractor. So that's something you just have to know that, have to keep up with that. Now, if you have a silage packing tractor, you probably just have an ag tractor that you've put the extra weight on. My tip there is to tell you that you need to use the scraper version service times and vertical axle test. So in case you don't know what the vertical axle test is, you pull your hub out, you pull your dual off, pull your hub out, you have to scoot your casting out, and you put a dial indicator on your axle housing and on your shaft. You jack it up, you set it to 0, you jack it up, you let it down, and then whatever the needle moves to, there is a spec. 0.007 is the number that comes right to my mind. So anything that's in check or in spec is good. Anything that's not, it needs bearings. It didn't say your bearing's bad. You're getting wear in your bearings, but you caught it up front. So that's that $10,000 repair we're talking about versus anywhere from a $30,000 to $50,000 failure repair. So it's like insurance. No one likes to pay for it, but if you don't pay for it and you don't have it, then you wish you did when you had it. So anyway, I'm just trying to share some information that we see, and if it helps somebody, great. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody's going to tell me in our comments, and as long as you keep it clean, we'll leave it up. If you have to be nasty, we'll remove it, because it's not called for. But we hope this helps.